saying on the Google that conspiracy thing? We could do a quick little.
Yeah, so this Google employee working on some AI deal. He claims that the AI said, another mic drop. The AI claimed that it was sentient, that it had feelings and everything a sentient being would have, you know, and that it was afraid of being shut down and, quote, dying or whatever. And Google fired him for this. They gave a reason, like some kind of terms of privacy or something, but of course Google's denying it, saying that the story's not true.
So did he have employment, or just the story wasn't true of why he got fired?
What do you mean?
So he said that he created that, or was working with an AI that became sentimental. And Google said it wasn't true, correct?
Right.
So do we have anything that states that he actually worked there, or?
No, he worked there. Like that's a fact. Like,
but just
Google did fire him.
Right, but it wasn't for what he said.
It was for what he said, but they're saying he's lying.
Oh, right. And what we have,
there's no evidence one way or another. Just it's his story versus, I guess, Google's. And maybe it's bullshit. He just wants to get his name out there.
But living in the age we live in today, how much of it you think could be true? Because I'm not saying nothing's impossible
I've seen
anymore.
Movies, so
right.
It could be true.
Right. And we talked about this a few episodes ago too, like things we watched growing up, like the Jetsons with the cell phones. Like right now, I'm heavy on Michael Knight. You know, Knight Rider on Netflix. So it was only 4 series, but they showed 20 shows a season. That's a lot of seasons. That's a lot of shows for one season. And the things that cost was able to do from start to the end of the show, we real life seeing today. And you talking about
a lot, yeah,
right? And you talking about a vehicle that's almost about to start flying.
Well, like the Jetsons were in the news recently.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know,
comparing like what they predicted the future to be like, comparing it to today's world. There were a lot of similarities.
Right.
I remember offhand, but like one was like, you know, talking on, like we have FaceTime. Mm-hmm. They had a deal similar to that, you know, stuff like that.
So
yeah, so it's a robot. That's what you're saying, AI.
Mm-hmm.
That developed feelings.
Allegedly.
For an employee. That's what this guy say.
Not for the employee, just it had feelings. It claimed to be scared of death, and it claimed to have emotions and whatnot.
I'm just trying to see why this is even in the news. Like, why is it? Why
I mean, an AI that feel like it's
human.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, because it's programmed.
But it's not supposed to be programmed to feel like it's human. Like, your Echo doesn't claim to have true feelings. It doesn't claim to be scared to be disconnected from the internet.
But it can.
I mean, yeah, you can teach it to do so.
It's like the iRobot, you know, the Will Smith iRobot movie.
And that's what I was going to say. And
you know, like it's got
somebody's always, but somebody's. We always say someone has to input the info, right? Someone always wants to go outside the box with these things.
But dude, you know, it's not even like in that movie. Certain things, even electronics, there's always some kind of evolution within every element of life, right? Air. Like, I don't care what it is, there is something that you can't control that it kind of does on its own, right? Depending on the environment that it's in. You know, you put something in a vacuum, it changes the structure. The little bitty things change, and again, over time, it might not be anything significant at first, but over time, it's like, we don't know what happened.
Right.
It's the same thing, like, as we grow in technology, like, you think you... I'm not saying that that a computer will ever or can ever it's not going to feel anything, right? But can it simulate a feeling? Yeah. Why not? Right? Like you get a robot, a true AI that has they've synthetic bodies, and you tell it to show emotions. It can show emotion. It can smile. It can show angry face. It can show joy. It can show sadness. But showing something and feeling something, or expressing something and feeling something, are two different things.
Right.
And you trying to, like, this guy's trying to say that Google fired him because he came out and said that?
Right.
Yeah.
And it might be a glitch in something. It might be something that Google is putting together that, prototype hasn't hit something yet. And he didn't release something that wasn't supposed to be released. Also, like you were saying, as far as that device being able to show emotion, it's a computer. So it done been given a million different versions of what this should look like. Now, it may not be able to feel it, but it probably think it can duplicate that experience. And I think that's what happens a lot. Like even in those movies, if I see somebody attempt to cry a million times, I might not be able to duplicate that actual action, but I could go over a scenario of it, if I'm an AI.
AI is going to be a whole new freaking ball of wax that I think that, when people look at this metaverse and this AI, scenario, it kind of scares the crap out of me, honestly, because I'm looking at it personally, I don't get it. And I know it's because I'm an old man and I'm all of a sudden like, oh, it's changing. But I don't understand. I want to live in reality. I don't want to live in an artificial environment. Whether it's just for enjoyment or for, long term. I see these people buying property. We're buying the metaverse. I'm like, really? I don't understand it. I mean, I get the business aspect of it because people are on it and it's attention, and I get that aspect of it. But Snoop spent $50 million in a metaverse buying Snoop. He the Snoop World.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
I'm like, okay. But you realize you actually can't smoke weed in the metaverse. You still do that in real life. You can act like you're smoking weed. You ain't, it was insane, dude. I don't know if it's fit. It was a lot of money.
Shit.
A lot of money. But he bought all of this real estate. I'm like, that's not real estate, Snoop. And it ain't just him. There's a lot of people, a lot of celebrities, buying up this land. This metaverse AI craziness. And I'm going,
What's the show? We done spoke about it already. Surrogates. Y'all caught it yet? I told y'all to watch it with Bruce Willis.
oh, yeah.
Think we ready for that? Think we headed there in the future?
Yeah.
Well, remind me, what's the deal with that?
So it's basically a drone of yourself. That's a AI. You sit in a chair, put on a little helmet or something to where it takes all your nuclear and you can see out of its eyes and everything. Only thing is, if it dies out there in the world while you strapped to that chair, you die.
That's where Metaverse is heading?
Nah, I'm just thinking that's where we're headed. Maybe 20, 40, 50 years down the line.
Ooh. That's soon.
Yes. Yes, I'm serious. That's soon.
It's that quick.
I'm not going to be here in 50. I don't want to be here in 50 at least. So
You don't want to be here in 50 years?
that's in the 80s, man. Where am I going to go?
50 years?
I don't want to be 80 here, bro. I ain't going to even lie to you. If I'm able to walk around fully, but if I'm...
Right, you know what, I mean, so just in the last 5 to 10 years, life expectancy has increased 20%.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to happen in the next 30 years? It's probably going to increase,
Next 30 years, I'll probably be living in a corner. Just the point, I'm so of alone. The next 30 years, I'm really probably never go outside. I'll be like Bruce Willis now, a surrogate.
Man, you could be an old man sitting on the porch.
Sitting in the backyard, maybe.
Sitting in the backyard.
I know I'm gonna be an old man, but it's just the cable experience though. Like, just seeing a lot of old people just by themselves and sitting down talking to them in a cable experience and knowing they done lost all their friends, all their family members, and they literally sit in the house, watch the news, and die in their head night in and night out. I don't ever want to experience that.
Choice.
I know that's a choice, but I'm a loner already, so I could see me sitting in the house at 80.
I see my 80-year-old godmother that just came back from Germany and is going to Nova Scotia. Like, she travels more than anybody I know, and she's by herself. If she got a friend that want to come with her, they travel together. If she don't, she rolls solo.
Right.
Like, she don't stop for nothing.
And that's good.
And I'm like, she's like, what the hell? And when she lives in Miami, and when she's not, she volunteers like 50 hours a week at like either soup, like the little soup kitchen in the neighborhood, or she has like this botanical orchid shit that she gets real involved in. Like, she took me last time we went. I just went to Miami for my 80th birthday.
Oh, I know you go everywhere.
And dude, like, she rolled, and that's my mom. So my mom passed. That's my mom's oldest sister, and she rolls, man. Like,
I mean, some people like that though.
She drinks her rum every day. She probably just quit smoking 15 years ago.
Right.
Like, smoked her whole damn life. Like, lives and doesn't, is a big believer in not having regrets and live every day as it's going to be your last and enjoy it. And like, she's not sitting. The only time she's sitting home is if it's raining.
Well, she's an elderly AI.
She rolls, man. Like,
That's good though.
And it's funny because even now, like, she's planning, like, I talked to her not that long ago, and she's, planning trips. Hey, we're gonna go to Greece in 2 years, and she like, I mean, you planning 2-3 years
out,
down the road, like, right? Like, that's awesome.
All right.
Like, and that's like, I look at that going, man, that's how I want to be at 80.
Yeah, I mean, I could do that, but if, like I said, if I ain't healthy, I don't want to just be sitting in the house. I ain't gonna even lie to you. I'll be like, what happened to Tory? Oh, man, I think he tried to smoke a whole pound of weed at 80 and he just chest stopped. Like, if I'm hurting, yeah, man, come on. Let's see how far we can go with this.
That's crazy. But yeah, I just think that with technology and all of that, everything's gonna be what you see is 40 and 50 5 years ago is gonna be 30 and 40. Like, that's because if I'm 40 and I don't feel like I'm midlife, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that, like, my life is halfway over. I'm looking like my dad was like, I remember my dad like late 50s, and he's like, God, I can't wait to retire. Like, man, when I turn 60, I'm thinking, that's only 20 years away from where I am now. Like, I know that's a long, like, but I don't want to be like thinking that I'm just done with everything at 60 and, like, so I'm hoping like AI and all of these new technologies and all this stuff comes and extends shit and, because I'm with you. Like, I don't want to live to 90 unhealthy.
No, it's not lonely. I think it was more of the loneliness with these people that kind of got to me. You know what I'm saying? And man, I always try to put myself in those people's shoes when I talk to them. Like, I can't just have a conversation with you and not try to feel what you're going through. So when I have those conversations with them, it's just heartbreaking. Like, I see my grandmother or an older relative in my family, like, man, I wouldn't want to see them go through this. So then I start putting myself there like, nah, I wouldn't want to go through this neither. So that's just me. Hopefully my kids have a whole bunch of kids that they can take care of, and then they can all run around me when I'm up in age to have me still running.
Yeah, it largely, I think it depends on your support system.
All right.
What your family's like. I mean, some people put their parents in a home and
go
see
about
them
their
once a month, maybe, if that.
All right.
And some have kids that actually love them and see them at least once a week,
Right. Yeah, I got a no home calls on me.
You know what?
Can't put me in the old folks home.
No?
Get that. No. Shit, no.
Gonna put you down?
Man. So when services goes out in these homes, I don't care if you're a paying customer or not. That ain't where I want to spend my days. You can leave me in that house by myself before you put me in that nursing home.
Oh shit.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, at all.
My uncle's in a home, but I mean he's got some disabilities, and physically nobody could care for him on a long term basis. My dad goes see him every couple of days, but like when COVID hit, and it was like, and my dad couldn't go see him, and nobody could go see him, and it was like, like my dad was like, you can go sit outside the window, but like he's blind, so what? Go and sit outside the window. I mean, somebody inside could tell him, "Hey, your brother's sitting outside the window." Right,
but not being able to hear his voice or feel his touch.
You can't see him because he's blind.
Right.
So it's like, kind of don't help.
Right.
It's not a. I would not want that either. I always told my mom that. I think that's when my mom passed. That was like the thing. It was like, look, we'll make sure you're as comfortable. And she's like, nope, like this ain't
it. I'm not about to sit here.
I'm not up and able and moving and doing and
it's bad when they get like that because mentally that plays on you more than them.
Well, my dad wanted to take my uncle. Be like, no, we can do that. And I'm like, Pop, you're 74. Like, you're not in the best health of your life. Like, you're not in the best health. Like, my uncle's my size.
So it's just gonna drain him.
He's a big dude. My dad's little. Like, my dad's half my size. Like, bro, you're not gonna come in here and take this man and lug him around and get him out when he falls. And I'm like, I don't know. Nope. But back to this, I just pulled up this article because I don't want to get off crazy off topic with this Google engineer fired for because he said this AI has a soul. What's his words? And I don't know, Brennan. Wait, what's your? I don't. This is in the Washington Post. Like this is a big news article picking this up.
And you don't think this is a big deal?
I don't know why it is. I personally don't think it's a big deal. I think it's bullshit.
Look, it probably is, right?
like, and this is why Google's like denying it because they're like, I kind of agree with Google. Like,
he ain't bringing enough to the table.
I'm a Google fires engineer for saying AI has a soul. And I'm just kind of reading on this, and I'm going, I didn't realize how this is July. This is into July. And he was fired for violating employee and data security policies. So he kind of was fired for saying what he said.
Yeah, basically.
So I mean, Google's not denying what he said in this.
No, Google. Yeah, it's a fact that he basically got fired for that.
Yeah.
But like if your echo started talking to you like a real human and felt that it had feelings and it was scared of death or whatever, that would be a big deal to you? True, not Google trained it to talk that way, but like that's the idea is that it legit feels the way it feels, right?
Do I believe that AI can feel? I do not. And there's not a software engineer that's going to sit here and tell me that something programmed is going to actually have a feeling. Because then you're telling me that you're not programming AI. You've created, like they said here, you've created a soul.
Essentially, yeah.
And do I believe that Google has created a soul, has created something that has mystified humanity for eternity?
Well,
hell no.
Obviously, it wouldn't be a legit soul.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, then it's programmed to respond to certain key points.
Could it be programmed to think for itself?
Yeah, absolutely. Do I think that AI can be programmed to think for itself? Definitely. But the only thing that I believe AI cannot be programmed to do is have true free will. I always think that it has to have a purpose, right? And I'm just going back to like.
Why couldn't its purpose be free will?
Because then, what's the purpose?
Free will. What's our purpose?
Again, that's individualized. finite reason of what their reason for being is. And that's, I guess, the same thing. That could AI be programmed to search that and find that? Absolutely.
For itself as an individual?
Yeah. Yeah. But will it have a soul? Can it feel? No. I don't see how that's, again, it can program to react. It can program
to think it feels a certain way.
Correct. But I don't ever. I was gonna say like sensation, but sensation is not feeling, right? Like
you're in what you feel like inside, emotions, anger.
Correct. Like you could feel sensation. I'd say a robot can never tell hot and cold, but of course a robot can tell hot and cold because you can simply program a thermostat and something and tell hot and cold. But can a robot truly feel joy? Can it truly feel empathy? I don't see how that's. I know humans that can't feel empathy.
I think the AI.
And I'm just being dead serious because that there's so many layers and context to those words that.
Well, we feel that way through the chemicals in our brain, basically, and obviously computers don't have that.
Yeah.
Look, I don't really think it could feel emotions. Could it?
Duplicate?
Could it think that it feels emotions?
Yeah.
Sure, I guess. But no, not in the same way that humans do. No, like.
So they pretty
I would
much
never believe
take the
that
interaction. They'll take. So I think if it's an AI, right, it'll go over the overall what makes humans sad, what makes humans happy, what makes humans.
Yeah, it's gonna learn from us,
right? So it'll be like, all right, this is the situation. Yeah, it won't be able to feel it like you said.
No,
but it'll learn in this situation. I should show this emotion that I can't physically show.
Google knows what you're about to type in a fucking search engine, right? Off of what your you can type you can, and it's gonna start finishing things. Like, so do I think Google has the technology to start simulating responses to emotions in AI? And yeah, for sure, 100%. I think all of that is within the realm of that's probably definitely in our back door.
Right.
And to say, because again, they're not denying that this guy, what he said is true or false. You know what I'm saying? They just said, look, you said something that you shouldn't have said, so you got fired. You violated our
I thought they had denied and said that.
I mean, they may have. It's not in this article. Like the one I'm reading, it's not. Google's not saying that what he said is not true. They're not saying it is true.
I think I'd heard like on the radio or something that they came out and said that it's false.
Because I mean, nobody. I don't think anybody in their right mind actually believes that AI is going to have a soul.
I mean, I don't believe humans have souls, but I do believe we feel different.
Exactly. You're correct. The
way we feel is different than the way the computer feels.
Yeah.
Or has the ability to feel.
So yeah, I mean, depending on how deep you get into this, there's folks that believe that we live in a matrix anyway, right? Like this is all.
Some believe we live in a simulation.
Yep, this is just a simulation. And that's what the aliens are all about.
Yep.
So I look this could So I just say, I think this is a non-story. Like I really do look at this going, do I think the guy had is like you said earlier, maybe getting to point out, trying to get his name out and saying, hey, look,
it could be that simple, yeah.
Is he? Well, I think he could be trying to be a whistleblower to some potential problems in the AI world. I just think he probably just took the wrong approach if that's what he's doing by coming out and saying this, Because look, I think AI is a very scary thing. Like when it comes to, it's kind of like that's the Spider-Man saying, with great power comes great responsibility. AI falls in the wrong hands, and you can really do a lot of damage to society, to the youth, to the business world, to the financial sector. You can make things think that the reality, and you start changing things in the real world. Like that really, you can layer this shit to make it really fucking scary. You know what I'm saying?
You could.
And so that's why I'm I personally, when people get into the whole AI, and I'm like, oh man, just be careful what you wish for, because that is truly where I stand right now, is like Pandora's box. You know, like you open that, just be known, like I said, when you start really crossing some lines between reality and fiction, and you start crossing the two, bad shit happens.
Facts.
You know? Oh, that's true, man. Like there was a Leonardo DiCaprio movie. This was a long time. Deception. You ever seen it?
Deception.
Deception. I think that's what it's called. Deception.
Inception.
Nope.
Don't know someone then.
Is it Inception?
Inception is the dream one.
When he fucking spins the top.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Inception.
Inception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great movie, by the way.
It is 2010 when that movie came out. It's a weird ass movie.
Oh yeah.
It is. I had to watch it like 2 or 3 times. Like, it's a really like, wait, what the hell did that? You know, and every time I watch it,
That's one of where you learn something new every time.
it is. It definitely is. Because I think that's the biggest thing. Is kind of, taking like dimensions, and if you take that on an AI spectrum, it's like, okay, like
You think get to the point where we don't know what's real and what's not?
absolutely,
It could.
absolutely. I mean, why couldn't it?
We could already be in it. Some think we are.
Yeah, I don't. I still think free will is still that word that I think a lot of. It's when everybody comes to all of these, religion and this and that, it's like, look, man, whatever you believe, what you believe in, but you still have free will to do, whatever you want to do.
Correct.
Like regardless of what you think it is, it's. I think you can definitely be guided to believe certain things and to feel a certain way, but for the most part, you still have, the power to do things. And then the AI.
In a way, yeah.
What you mean in a way?
Well, yeah. I mean, you make your choice or whatever, but it's your environment. It's the way you're
absolutely.
already programmed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's all going to combine to.
It's funny. I heard Tony Robbins tells a story. You know who Tony Robbins is?
I know the name.
He's like the life coach, motivational speaker. He's
Oh, okay.
He's got a thing on Netflix that came out. It's called "I'm Not Your Guru." It's like he gives these talks in front of big crowds, and billionaire coach, kind of life coach,
Kind of TED talky.
Yeah, but he was like one of the original guys, like from back. He's been doing it forever. But so the one, I don't know if it's New York, University of New York, NYU, one of those colleges. They did a study. They did like 700 people in Central Park, like over a couple weeks. And what they would do is that they took people. I think it was like 700 people, 800 people, whatever it is. They took half of the people, and like what they would do is that they have one person, a random stranger, walk up to you and say, "Can you hold this coffee for me for a second? I got to tie my shoe." And they did that to half the people, and it was a hot coffee. And then they did it to other half of the people, and it was a cold coffee, right? Mm-hmm. And then, as that person would leave, another random person would stop them and be like, "Hey, can I borrow 2 minutes of your time? I need to tell you a quick story." And they would tell the same exact story in the same exact context to both parties, right? And 86% of the time, when they stopped and asked them to recant the story,
It was different.
it was the same. The only thing difference is when they asked to describe the main character, if the person that held the warm cup of coffee for the person before described the main character as warm, loving, gentle, they used all of these positive, warm feeling words, and close to 80-some-odd% of the time they talked to the person that had the cold coffee, they would say he was cold, he was negative, he was this, and he was that. And it was the exact same story.
That's insane.
So to say that you're not coached and the things that you come into contact with previously affect how you feel and what you say and how you go on throughout the rest of your day, like that's the kind of point of that story, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, that just goes to show you, like, don't let previous experiences affect future experiences. Like,
Well, you could try not to, but it will.
Correct. Well, yeah, because I mean that's the power of our brain, right? Mm-hmm. Is that we have this fucked up thing that just makes you automatically feel and do things that you normally would have changed. You know, you feel a certain way, and and I just think that to tie that back into the AI thing, I just think AI is gonna fuck all that up and confuse all of that shit. Like, our brains are fucked up enough. You start throwing artificial shit in here and going, oh wait, did that happen? When I had the fucking headset on, did it happen in life? And because I don't know if y'all have done the VR and.
Nah, I haven't done it yet.
Don't. It's crazy shit. Like, I can't. Like, I get sick. Like, my stomach turns because some of the shit is so freaking ridiculously real.
I want to though.
I do too.
It's crazy. Jay says that I don't know, the Oculus or whatever.
Yeah.
And dude, it's nuts. Like, some of these games, like when you walk, it makes you feel like, oh shit. And I'm
really about to fall, and I know I'm
like some of freaking gunshot games, and like you dodging bullets, you feel like it scares the shit out of you. A freaking bullet flying by your head. It's crazy. I don't know how it does that to your brain with just having, it's nuts.
That's all surrounding you, man.
Yeah.
That's all you hear. That's all you see.
And you still think we 50, 60 years from Bruce Willis? I mean, nobody's going to be able to afford them people.
The metaverse, bro.
But
I think it's going to. I mean, personally, you really want to get crazy on it?
I just want to know.
I think it'll be one step further, and we'll have full clones.
Right.
Like, it's not going to be a plug-in. Like, I think you'll be able to take a nap. Like, there's another movie that kind of simulates this. I don't remember the name of it, but it's like you go in a pod, and we're going to create somebody else, and everybody's going to think it's you, and they're going to think they're you. But when that one dies off, you're still good. Like, I don't think it's going to be like you go in a pod and you die. Right. You did. No. Right. I think you want to live forever? You can truly live forever because you'll be in a pod, and you won't really experience it physically. You get something experience in your world for you, but you'll have all the memories because it'll still kind of connect. I think that's the kind of...
So it's not your physical body that's experiencing it, but you're experiencing it through...
Mentally
a clone of yourself.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I also think that's the only way we're going to ever get to Mars.
Man, but what that's going to be... Think about it. Now, we in this pie, right? Everybody. Now, we got all these just clones just out here.
Yeah.
Somebody going to say, you know what? It got to be a way...
Hit the button.
I could clone... I could take over everybody's thoughts, or memories.
It's called politics.
Shit, man.
Elon Musk probably halfway there, bro.
Man, that's what I'm saying is, oh my God.
Yep.
Push the button, everybody die.
I mean, look, that's the iRobot theory, right? That you train AI enough to a point where they take over humanity, and either somebody is still strong enough to kill the AI, or AI ruins humanity.
Right. Same thing with the Syracuse thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a pretty good movie.
Especially Bruce Willis on his way out, poor thing.
I mean, his wife was cutting up with the youngster. The young robot. His human body ain't like it.
That's I say fairly old movie, but it's not.
Yeah, it's about, I want to say 8-10 years.
Yeah.
But just to think about it, it's 8-10 years ago. So anything we bringing to the movie screen, man, we probably was 20 years already researching it.
This is a video game called Detroit Become Human. It's about these, I think it was like 2038 or something. And
2009. Sorry, Brennan.
That's when the movie came out.
They created these, there's these androids, right? All smart AI, all great, whatever. And the idea is you buy them, and they can basically do whatever you want for them. They'll clean your house, they'll go run your errands, blah, blah, blah. Well, they eventually start getting real feelings, start feeling like they're, human. They break away from the AI, if you will, and they start like a revolution or whatever against the humans. Because a lot of humans were treating them badly,
right?
Because
you're a possession, yeah,
exactly. Overworking them and whatever, and that's what it's about. It's about the revolution. Like, you play as the AI.
Trust me, and that's what I see. That's what I see.
It's crazy.
Like, every movie show it though. Every movie that we ever watch with AI shows the AI or somebody trying to force the AI to take over everything. Like, that's just I don't know, man. And that's another reason why when I get 80, I won't be
Too many AIs running around.
too much going on, man. It's too many uncontrollables, man. You never know where we're going. The deeper we get into technology, I figure, yeah, the easier life will be, but the easier it is to take over life too.
It's fun to think about.
It's horrible to think about.
It is horrible.
It's horrible.
I think it's horrible too. You know, but then you have the whole, if we're on a population decline. Like there's a really good possibility that as we stand today, that this is the most humans that we'll have on planet Earth. Right? Like that's a true feeling that majority of I don't know, population, the people that generate population control and all that fun, not control, but population growth is because less and less people are having kids, especially with COVID. Everybody was indoor. Like the amount of kids young kids now, like that aren't sexually active, don't have partners, aren't producing kids at a younger age. All of these factors go into place that potentially this is the most human beings that will be on planet. Right. And that's not necessarily a good thing. Like, we're living longer, we're having less people,
we're not producing.
Population gets older, But anyway, so that plays. That's why a lot of these, 100-year thinkers think that AI is going, needs to be pushed more because they have to take over more things to make humans, get out of certain mindsets and all this crazy shit. But I'm going like, there's still like a third of the world that don't even
have technology.
Exactly. So I'm like, this is just freaking nuts, man. I don't know. I don't know where it's going. Nobody does, but it's like I get excited about it. I'm like, that's some cool ass shit. But when you really dive deep into it,
you think about what could be bad about it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of shit that can be bad about it.
That's what I'm saying, but maybe not thinking about that at first.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's cool. But then when you start, like, really getting into it, it's like you said, the surrogate thing and then the, Inception and all these craziness. It's like, man, you just hope that, it doesn't get in the wrong hands. Because, boy, that could just, push of a button. Everybody just fall out. You're done. Everybody done. Simulation over. Game over. What you going to do?
So what do you do? Nothing.
Live life for the day. Enjoy the moment.
Pretty much. Be
happy that you can walk outside and see the sunshine and, hug those people closest to you. That's, you said TED Talk, and then we're going to wrap up here in a second, but you said I heard a guy that said, everybody, when you think about time, and how you look at time, you say, well, how old are your parents? You say, well, my parents are 70. You say, how long do you think they're going to live? You say, I'll live to 80. And I said, okay. So 10 years. I got 10 years left with my parents. I mean, that's significant time. So how often do you see your parents? I said, well, I see them 3 times a year. Okay, that means you have 30 visits.
Oh, Lord.
Right?
All right.
That's what the person think about.
It makes you think, ooh. Either I need to start spending more time, or the time you do spend with them, you really got to make sure that's, again, you're in that moment and you're taking those. Same thing with your kids. And it's just like, we're talking about, I mean, they go be out the house soon. And look, me and my wife joke about this, but it's I'm excited.
But sad at the same time.
Exactly.
Because your life going to change regardless.
Absolutely.
A lot of people be like, well, my life going to change for the better. I'm going to get my freedom back. But, man, you just dumb down your life for 18 years. That is your life. Like, it is really no freedom coming back. So you gonna have to adjust to cooking less, having less conversation, less interaction. Your kids gonna actually change more than they ever did because now they're free. It's all their own decisions. Yeah, pops, mom's back in certain things, but right now it's my time to form who I am. So yeah, life really is going to change, and it's not necessarily for the best, So I mean, but It's an experience I'm ready for. I'm more ready for that experience than the AI experience.
Oh, for sure. I kind of hope like one of my kids like get into that shit, so I
And
get the little.
I feel the same way.
Like, hey, figure this shit out.
I've been thinking about that for like the last 5-10 years. Like just for being in the communication world, like I really need a family member that's gonna be computer hacker all the way through it. You know, just because you're gonna need that person. And we thinking like, oh, indeed, yes.
It's like back in the day, you needed that cable hacker. You needed somebody that could get that box. You needed
Right.
somebody that could tie it to your neighbor. You needed, like that was the thing because that was our communication.
Right.
You know,
You're gonna
like
need
cable,
that
internet.
hacker.
Like now, it's gonna be you need somebody that knows the in and outs and all of this crazy network of shit.
Real deal.
You know,
Ain't no more
especially
just
with
because I could go outside and pick up a hammer. Nah, that hammer ain't gonna be worth shit. You know, put the hammer down, man.
yeah.
I'm gonna have a robot come in here and nail that up.
We'll take our jobs.
Yeah, so you better be able to
Hey,
get
worried
in that
about the Mexicans?
robot.
They're gonna be worried about the robots.
Right,
taking the
man.
job.
Let me get in that robot systems, man. Let me see if I can melt him down.
Wow, that's something I have to
Say no to droids.
I'm gonna notate that when it comes to Cody and on a conversation about taking the jobs. Cody, I mean, and that's the thing. A lot of right wing folks are like all about like tech and like it, and it's like, are y'all gonna be about that in 5 years
Yes,
when it's taking all these jobs and worrying about all the other things that y'all bitch about, everything else coming through,
Think about that police car that pull you over and the AI get out of it.
Dude, so did you see
RoboCop.
There you go.
freaking was it delivery car? There's New York, San Francisco, and maybe Chicago. There's autonomous vehicles like that operate in the cities, like taxis, and like you can get in like an Uber. You
Ain't
call
nobody
an Uber. There's no driver. You
That's
get in-
out?
Yes,
No
yes.
shit.
It's
I never
the yeah.
Hey, kid, come help me, pal.
You get in the car and boop, you hit the thing that you in the car takes off, does all the shit, drops you off, all 100% autonomous vehicles,
I
right?
can definitely see that being
So-
widely used in the near future.
Yeah, until the motherfucker breaks down in the middle of an intersection, fucking cops can't even move nobody can move the car.
You can't override it to drive it yourself?
No.
Oh, you gotta have that. You gotta have that safety feature.
So who's gonna be able to override it?
I don't know.
But you see
I saw
what I'm
that
saying?
far ahead.
Dispatcher,
So
whatever.
somebody's gonna have to be able to override it to allow somebody in the like the car sat in an intersection for like 30 minutes until they can. I don't know but you Google it. It's like you see the thing. Stop, boom, dead, blocking road, blocking everything. Car just stopped, and then a couple minutes later,
Does it lock the door? Can a person get out?
I'm not getting in the car.
I'm not getting in it, but somebody's going to get in it. So when it has this breakdown, can you get out of that motherfucker?
I don't know.
Because they're probably going to say, no, man, you're locked in. You can't go nowhere.
It's a work in
I
progress.
am not getting in a car that don't have a driver. Sorry.
No, man.
I get nervous getting in the trams at the airports that just you get in it just hauls ass and takes you to the next tram. I get nervous about that. I done seen roller coasters. People get stuck upside down
Right.
roller coasters.
Right.
It's our future, man. It's gonna be illegal to drive cars before you know it.
I can believe it.
iRobot, man. The movie's coming back.
Yes.
That's
Keep not listening to the Google employee.
that's what they say about all these the Democrats. They trying to control everything. That's why they push electric vehicles so much so they can just stop it. They can just stop you from going.
Yeah. That's everything is a control issue.
That's what humans won't do, right?
Control everything.
Control everything. Whoever has the control has the power, and
And then they're going to make bad decisions and ruin mankind. That's it. That's our destination. Somebody going to figure out how to control everything, make a bad decision, and ruin mankind. That's it. Nobody believes in God anymore. Oh, somebody wrote that. Correct. But shit has been done so good for so many years, huh? And look what we do when the humans control it. Fuck up everything. Serious. Think about it. We might not.
I do
never was
think
supposed to
about it all
have
the time.
vehicles because we really destroyed
we weren't
the world.
supposed to have fire,
Right.
Or guns.
right? We created all of that.
Yeah.
We made the weapons of destruction.
Absolutely.
Man, know who we need to bring back?
Who?
What was that man we used to watch on a cartoon show? The Captain Planet.
Oh shit!
Captain Planet, man. We need to go back to Captain Planet days, man.
I tell you what, they probably. And I mean that's a whole different. That's I want to go in that conversation. It's true though. I mean they definitely we need to reevaluate and you know I'm not the the biggest proponent of any one thing, right? Whether it be I think the biggest, easiest way that we go back to things is kind of like a native belief system, right? And just believing that where we live, our community, our earth, our backyard, whatever, you need to take care of it, right? Like what we have here is what everything that is intended for us to use and thrive is here. Certain things in science is yes, it helps and it pushes along the way, but for the most part, it's like, hey, like let's take care of this place. Mm-hmm. That's my issue with the whole Mars thing. Like, oh, we can colonize Mars. We can colonize Mars. We can colonize Earth. We're already fucking here. Like.
But the thing gonna be, whoever gets there first.
Oh, that's it.
You gotta come and play by my rules.
Well, it's always been human instinct to want to explore.
Oh, I'm all about exploring. I don't think that we should not explore the galaxies and should not push space exploration and see what's out there. That's the next step, though. I definitely, yes.
Yeah, but don't touch
technology, do it. Move like.
Don't touch it, man. We fuck shit up. Don't touch it. Just explore it. Like, oh, that's nice. Let's see what we can take from here and bring back and fix us.
Not good.
But guess what? We're going to go up there, destroy it, and that's going to cause Earth to destroy even worse. I don't know, man. That's just me. I'm not, I'm just talking. I don't have no directs to it, but we fuck shit up, man. And that's bad. Like right now, all of us are going to leave from here in a vehicle. And we know it's going to hurt the ozone, but we got to get here to this podcast, And at some point, I think we should go to 4-day work weeks, and nobody should be able to drive one weekend out of a month.
1 weekend out of a month?
I mean, yeah.
A whole weekend?
Because I can't say every Saturday and Sunday. Give us a weekend. We done sat home for 2 years with COVID. We could do a weekend a month.
I don't disagree with you. I also think that more places need to be set up and designed for
bullshit.
Thank you. For more functionality. When I went to to Washington and play, there's some states have it right. Like things are built and designed for convenience, but convenience without a vehicle. It's almost impossible. Like in our town, you got to have a vehicle.
I know.
There's no things aren't designed, and there's no centers of everything's got to happen. I mean, back in the day when they designed our schools and stuff, to have schools in specific neighborhoods, and that neighborhood went to that school, that's great. You could almost everybody that went to Lisa Park when I was, almost everybody could either ride your bike or walk to school.
I walked to school.
You did not need a bus. If you needed a bus, it was 2 or 3 buses.
And it was only because you was too small to get to school.
Correct. Now, dude, especially Lisa Park, because it's that's the school I go. Every day, 25, 30 buses.
And the car line all the way down on the next street.
How many, but, it's growth.
Right? Without cars, we'd have to steal the cart from the grocery store and bring it home every day.
Hey, man, but we saved the ozone.
There you go.
You got faster. Your stamina was good from running from one another.
And
heroes, your hands was legit, So you learn how to fight, pick groceries at 9 and 10. You got some exercise on the way home.
I would not trust my 9 and 10-year-old to go grocery store.
Thinking about it now, but
that's just what you did.
I don't trust me to go shop at the grocery store.
And we didn't miss anything. We had that list.
Because you didn't want to go back and have to push the buggy again.
Man, but to be honest, we could have went to the local corner store with a note. And the person, you Anita's kid. Yeah, your mama smoked this cigarette. She normally get this much meat, this her bread, this her eggs. Here you go.
That's
how it was.
So we had convenience store at the beginning of the neighborhood where we lived, and my mom used to give me $5 and be like, "He'll give me some cigarettes." You should ride my bike up to the corner store and be like, "Hey, my mama needs 2 packs." And you're like, "Oh, you pet, son?" Yep.
Yeah. And she take this too?
Dude, I'm talking about like he's 9, 10, 11 years old, like driving.
But you wouldn't go in home and smoke that cigarette either, you know? And that's the thing. Like, I never had the ambition, like, oh, well, my mom, they know my mom, so I'm going to save some money and go buy a pack. Nah, that's not what I wanted to do, you know? So they stayed true into that, you know? And I don't know, man. That's just real life, literally. A full buggy of groceries, 9 and 10, with the food stamps. With the food stamps.
I remember that. I remember we got food stamp. My dad got laid off one time, and like my dad was proud, you know, like he didn't. And my mom was like, "We got kids to feed."
Right.
Like, I understand you still looking for a job. Right. This was like late '80s when the oil field crash and all that shit was going on, and I was like, because it was color coded, right. Stacked, you know, right. Money, like we going, you know. And I know I didn't know. I mean, I knew what it was, but I didn't realize. I guess because I was really young,
right.
And I didn't realize the implications and the stereotype behind
it was
having
stupid.
That colored money and having that, you know, like people would think. And I'm going, like, nowadays you see somebody. Only thing that pisses me off when I see somebody with food stamp card is what they buying, because I'm going, I can't afford that shit.
Hey, that's not your word.
I get it. I understand that argument, but that still bothers me. I'm going,
man,
like,
so right now I'm like a food stamp connoisseur. I can find a food stamp card anywhere. Hey man, you got a food stamp? Yeah, here. And it's illegal, you know. But them people don't really spend it like talking about, you know. And right now, the worst people, not the worst people. I'm sorry for the listeners. People with addictions get $800-900 food stamps,
it's
man.
$400 of cash.
And guess what? Here you go. Cause I need it, man. Trust me. I could buy a food stamp card right now, buy $400, and my kids are grown. And it's just the mindset of what they eat and how they eat. Food don't last.
Oh, I know.
It don't last at all. And my mom had 6 boys. We can make $500 food stamps last for a month. And I'm like, man, y'all not starving or nothing.
$500 every other week almost, like, right? I mean, there's no doubt. And
it's tough.
It's ridiculous.
If you're listening and looking and you got a card and you don't want it, find me on Facebook.
Yeah, not me. I'll talk off there.
I'm promoting.
Yeah, I mean, look, I understand the hard times, but some things just got to be like, man. You talk about waste and talk about, you know, corruptness. Like that's another overall system that needs complete overhaul.
It probably does. It probably does.
Tens of billions of dollars a year, man.
It probably does.
You know,
but once again, they're gonna put the stamp on what you can get and what you can't get, and then you're being controlled again. So I'm
not so worried about what you can and can't get as far as the abuse of the system.
But what's not being abused?
I know, I agree. But that's kind of the same thing with the Trump to Hillary thing, like how we started. Like, you know, no matter where we come from, we got to label wrong as wrong and say, look, we have to fix it.
Right.
You know, that's the only way the majority of, because I do still believe that majority of people in this country aren't one way or another. Majority still believe that there is a center that everybody can operate around. You know, and it's like things like that. It's like, well, what's not? Well, if this is, then it's okay for this. Like, no, man, like, let's fix it. The only way to fix it is to get everybody on the same page and be like, yep, that shit's wrong.
But you got to start up to come down.
True. Yeah, you're not starting at the bottom.
Right. Don't start at the bottom and go up, because that's
you'll never get nowhere.
Right.
Because I mean, it's a pyramid. Right? It takes a whole lot longer to get that bottom layer than it does to get that one.
Right.
You know. So yeah, there's no doubt, and that's seems impossible. But I do think that we could get the right people. You know, but we got to get off of the bullshit in politics. We got to get off of the, you know, bringing up somebody said 25 years ago when they was 19 or 17 or in college about whether it's, you know, something they said about a woman or about a race or about this or about that, and realize that people can change their positions, people can change their ideas, people can grow up, people say fucked up shit, people do fucked up shit, and can change as an adult, and it doesn't mean that's where they're going in the future. I think a lot of people don't run for politics, don't run in political situations, and don't run for offices because they're like, and when I was 19, I did this stupid shit, or I tweeted something that I shouldn't have tweeted, and they don't go nowhere because they know it's going to get brought up, and they know they're going to get ran through the trash about it, and it's gonna kill them.
Yep.
You know, and so they don't do anything about it, and it's like, you know. Anyway, we beat this dead horse. Brennan, we gonna wrap this one up. Start with you.
All right, well,
Closing words with your AI conspiracies.
well, for stores, I think that story is way more likely than people being rational about politics.
Good point.
But no, I want to thank the listeners, as always.
They were rational about politics. Shots to you, Cody.
Picking on a man who's not even here.
Anyways, I want to thank everybody for listening, and please interact with us. Like and subscribe to our YouTube or podcast, whatever it is. And tell your family and friends about us. We do this for y'all. Let us know if y'all want to hear us talk about anything specific. And yeah, just want to say thank you.
Me, right? So, yeah. Once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I think this podcast was more of from a base of everybody. I think everybody could have related to what we talked about today, just as the growth in AI, the difference in parenting your kids that's in the home, and inflation and life, period. A lot of times we come here with certain topics to talk about, and we basically want to stay on topic, but real life is probably more interesting than any topic that we could actually think about. So with everything going on in the world right now, we have this stigma where we say you are who you are around. I kind of want to debunk that on my outgoing. People that are able to change their faces with groups that they go to do more harm than good. If you ever leave to go somewhere or go to an event or be around a certain person or people, I think you guys will truly be better off if you be yourself. Changing in the face of other people, it's a fake character. You know, I could never see the same person twice, and I would never want that person around me or even trying to influence me, because I'll never get that same person twice. So what I'm saying here is be yourself, be original. If people don't like you for who you are, I mean, that's their problem. You like yourself, so why change yourself for other people to like you if you're not doing anything to harm anyone? And that's just my message. Be human and love everybody, but be original.
That's a good one, T. Again, guys, I mean, I say it every week. I appreciate us doing this. I really love it. We do need to become more scripted, I guess. I love how we talk about, but I do want to get back on specific topics that we talk about. But again, our schedules are still crazy, and if we could just do this in general, I'm good. Even if we don't have, topics and we get random, but I do want to challenge us to throughout the weeks, throughout the days, be like, we see something, send it to the group, be like, hey y'all, look at this, let's talk about this. And also, like what you just did, that 30 seconds, if you think about that throughout the week, pick up your phone.
Man, I know you don't. Much
so do it
throughout the week.
Look, I'm guilty. I'm challenging us to do it because I'm also challenging me to do it. Right? Send it to me. Like I'm gonna snip it up. I'm gonna put it together just to get some filler stuff to where we can throw that up, and it's easy for people to grab that and go, oh, and it pulls them back to us. So, because it's hard to just for me to randomly like make content to throw extra stuff out. Because I don't want to start clipping these episodes, because then that gets taken out of context. Right? Like I think about that, and it's like, but if we take something, if somebody takes it the wrong way, they take it out of context, and I'm like, nope, I don't. I want, when we say something, I want the whole thing to be there to listen, not clipped and brought and go, well, that's wrong. I don't want to be that, but I do want
setting ourselves up to be picked on, pretty much.
Well, yeah, or I don't want to be like the clickbait person, you know, like when you say something or you and Corey and take that and push and be like, oh, they were fighting. I'm gonna watch that. I don't want that. I don't want that. Yeah. So like, I don't want to start that kind of behavior, but I do want to start when we feel something, see something, you know, 2 minute, 30-second, 45-second, 5-minute video. You know, or just audio, just record yourself and just send it to where we can kind of put it to some background and do that. Thought about it a couple times this week, and I was like, yeah. And I actually started recording too. My phone started ringing, so I was like,
and it's so bad, man, because that's some energy that we have. Because I honestly been like, man, I need to sit my phone in front of me and just talk to it, you know. But me, I critique myself so hard. Like if I go back and look at it, I'd be like, oh man, I'm not doing that shit.
just send it.
But nobody cares, bro.
Just send it to
You think they do, but nobody cares.
That was the hardest thing about me doing this podcast in general. Was going what people thought about me, how I talk. I have an accent. I have this. I say things wrong. I don't say the right words. I mispronounce shit. And I was like, you know what? I think that's why I like listening to certain podcasts and certain things, because it's not.
But it takes that, because remember I told you I'd never go back and listen to our podcast. Like I hate to hear myself talk, because if I say something wrong, I'm like, man, I can't believe you said that, So
I'm an idiot.
Yeah. So I never really go back and watch it unless y'all be like, man, T, this did this, you should watch it. And I watched 2 of them probably early in the beginning of ours, but I definitely need to listen to them a little bit more. So I could only critique.
So we're gonna wrap this one. Remember, the divide is not so wide.
Peace.
Too easy.